Welcome back to Metaphor ReFantazio. Last time, we explored kind of as much of this room as we can. It's pretty winding, but we found, I'm pretty sure those are... Yes, those are all three of the chests. And now, let's enter the Canopy chamber. Why would this be called a canopy if we're already far underground?
What? There's someone here.
It's you. I believe we met at the spring?
I also believe we've been hearing your voice in our head.
My name is Euphazia. I am priestess of the dragon god, but you may call me Eupha, if it pleases you.
To see you now, you seem largely unscathed. You have hidden yourself well, priestess. This place is devoid of monsters. Almost uncannily so.
I sought the room least affected by Magla. We of the Mustari are blessed with a third eye that can see magic's flow.
Okay, that's similar to the power Gallica has.
But more importantly, why are you here?
Adeni asked us to help you. We're here in the stead of the island soldiers.
So my brother is safe. Thank goodness. Then I trust your word. Please, help me complete the ritual for the island.
Wait, girl. We want no part of this sacrifice. We're here to take you back.
'Twas your brother's own behest. If you doubt us, then you may seek your answers from him.
That is true, he is the one who specifically told us to bring her back, and we asked if he wanted us to complete the ritual, and he said no.
My brother would have you stop me. But why?
This is so crazy to think he doesn't want his sister to die.
But what happens if I return? The island's Magla royals. Our people are tormented by horrors from the sea. Even our herds are being driven to madness. The chaos must be quelled. And if I stand as sacrifice, no one else will need to.
That is actually, this kind of mentality is something that, honestly, I feel that I struggle with a lot. Just the idea of if you're the one to put yourself forth to, you know, do bad things or do the hard work, then, you know, no one else will. It's just that kind of almost martyr complex.
A fire burns in you, girl. It's a valor any knight would be proud to wield. And I should know. But if you're to risk your life, shouldn't it be for something certain?
Is all this really happening because of that dragon god?
What? But the perils that grip the island, they are born of the same magic that floods this temple.
We've seen the same phenomenon across the nations. This affliction isn't isolated to your islands.
And that's a good point. With us having traveled across the whole world, we realize that there are many places that have this kind of melancholia distortion, and it's always been tied to some kind of great tragedy surrounding that location.
Even so, surely...
How about this then? We'll get you safely to the altar, and see what we can figure out there. You know where it is, don't you?
That is a good compromise.
Well, yes.
And we're not the ones who know the way to the altar, and let's just say, having a guide is really helpful in this place.
Let's see what's really going on back there for ourselves. We've got business with this lance of yours too.
She's right. No point in stopping here. Is that okay, Captain? We'll protect you.
Yes. When we leave this island, we will do so together.
What do you want with Dracotios? No. Whatever your answer, it hardly matters for the sacrifice. I will trust all of you as envoys of my brother. Besides, my third eye sees the flow of Magla keenly. There is something unusual about the Magla in your wake. It brings to mind descriptions of the heroes of old.
The heroes we're literally channeling? Yes, I can see why you would sense that.
Are you talking about archetypes?
Then we must not disgrace their legacy. Let us proceed with all due care.
Just like the story of the ages, let's go. I've actually been getting a lot of stories lately about the heroes of old, but yeah, we have an entry on the Mustari Third Eye. Third eye on the forehead of the Mustari tribe. While their two opposing eyes see plainly, like other tribes, the third eye can perceive Magla as shapes and colours, rather than the usual vague sensory suggestions. However, sensitivity varies from person to person. While some can perceive it only faintly, there are others, such as Yufa, who can see the flow of Magla very clearly. So she's, either special by birth or she's specifically trained herself to do this. Notably, the pupil of the third eye does not move as the other two do, and does not see in the same way. The third eye's lid remains in a perpetual half-open state, unless forced open with conscious effort. That's interesting. You might also remember that Zorba had the Mustari third eye, even though he was a hybrid. So, obviously you want to make sure to save here, but if you've ranked up more, you have no reason to go to Academia there, you can just do it from the menu, or you can just do all the archetype stuff from the menu. So yeah, as I said, this place being called the Canopy Chamber is kind of weird, because normally Canopy signifies the top of a tree, or tree line in a forest, but we're heading down. And it seems as though we are descending ever deeper and deeper into this dungeon. And yeah, Yufa is kind of considered to be with us, even though she won't be taking part in battles. And we have some butterfly-y things. Are those still blue? We do have some yellow enemies past them, though. Hello there. And it's a... it's an Elementor. Okay, let's see if I can grab the bouncy of this Elementor. I'm gonna Mania Bullet. Because that opens up a Vorpal Blade weakness. Okay, yeah, we should still have one more turn left, and... Do I trust Psych from Heisman to do that much damage? I think I will, come on! Good, okay, it was enough. I always misjudge the very last part of an enemy's health bar. I almost read that as Electrifying Dream, and that just reminded me of, like, you know, do androids dream of Electric Sheep. Okay, Juna is getting very close to having Wizard. That's nice for a long-haul dungeon like this. I'm way more concerned about MP than I am about HP here. But hello there, Gargoyles. Okay, you're just a single Gargoyles. You should be fine. And yep, there's the HP recovery. It's roughly the same kind of recovery as equipping that Blood Robe for a more magic-based classes. Yeah, I use class archetype pretty much interchangeably. I mean, you know by this point, we're like almost 60 parts in. Health Incense, okay.
You can always toss it later.
Toss it later? Not sure I want to toss that, but oh well.
I can't believe...
yeah, Adeni did say that he lost basically the whole squad. Yeah, you'll notice that Yufa does actually have a staff with her, but she's not really going to be taking part in combat right now. I suppose if she dies before getting to the ritual, then that would be bad for the whole island in her eyes. Our origins. So, it seems like this one here, I guess, are all the other murals here specific to the Mustari, or just this one?
Very well.
The birth of the village, the first chief. I do like the way that these wall paintings are done. Just really does feel like you're just delving into the ancient history of this place. And further down. Yeah, look at this big staircase. Hello there. Hello there. In fact, you know what? Since we've got some blue enemies here, let's go back to Mage and get some MP farming in. Yeah, unfortunately I can't quite, like, one-shot these on the field, but I can still recover myself some MP by doing this. Now, if Will was a masked dancer... Hello there. If Will was a masked dancer, I'd be getting, both HP and MP recovery. Birth of the priestess. So, that would imply the priestess tradition came after the island began.
Indeed.
The people of the village discovered these ruins and met the dragon god, so, yeah. Confirming the theory that it was not built by them. But clearly the dragon god existed before the Mustari were here, so it must be an older god than the Mustari faith is.
Hey. Let us
You do have a very strong conviction to save your village. And that right there, but is Dracodios itself. Bird? Bird? There you are. Hi, Bird. Yeah, these are just... I'm not even... like, I wonder if they are here just to give you, like, some kind of a healing buffer with Mage. Deeper and deeper. Wherever I go, stairs fall. I mean, at least be thankful you're going downstairs, not upstairs. And this is why I kind of recommended that you bring some, there's trees here. Why I recommended that you bring some Ariadne's thread. Because otherwise, like, because you might notice that we haven't found a warp save point yet. The only other one is right at the top of the dungeon. You don't really want to have to manually climb these stairs. And so, it is time to switch our archetype, because I want to actually have a good archetype for this. It is time for us to enter a bounty of relics. And if you've played this game before, you know what's coming. This...
What?
Huh?
Is the secret of Virga Island.
Surely.
Dragon Grace Shinjuku. The remains of an ancient civilization.
What?
A lost city. That language that they were talking about, that some of the weapons were written in. Remember we got Kusanagi? Yeah. This ancient dead language is Japanese.
Please, have a look.
Traces of priestesses past, but that's really not the real takeaway here.
Let's go.
Lost Dragon Grace Shinjuku. There's a reason for the lost there. An untouched city ruin deep underground in the Dragon Temple. Despite being underground, it somehow sits below a sky, and by all indications it was built by a civilization completely unlike the nations of today. It stands as material proof that the history taught by Sanctism is a lie. So, those are very clearly modern day buildings. Yep, we're in one of those kind of stories. The ancient past that this world is built on, it's our present.
No choice but to cut through them. Stop staring!
So, we've got here the Papyroga. They have fire skills. They are weak to wind and dark, in fact, so Heisman will be pretty good here. Let's go for an assassinate.
Impressive.
But you know what they're also weak to? And what this thing's weak to as well? In addition to wind. Pierce! Yeah, this is why I love Sniper so much. Because so many things are weak to, and these aren't the only things that are weak to Pierce in this floor. Or should I say, these aren't the only things that are weak to Pierce in this stratum.
Good. Tis done.
So if I check my map here, you might notice. This looks like it's gonna be quite large. Quite large indeed. Yeah, it's probably more efficient to use things like base wind rather than assassinate against these. These aren't particularly strong enemies in spite of their high level. If you can kill or finish off something with normal attack, you probably should, because it'll save you a whole bunch of trips back. There's also a reason a lot of the enemies here drop Magla pills. And there we go, not only do we have Mage maxed out, but we also have Magic Circle, a great skill to inherit onto Masked Dancer. In fact, I think I'll do that right now.
Alright.
Just plus 10% magic power. But what I'll also do right now is give her Wizard. Finally, we can start making headway into second tier magic skills and like really using an offensive mage. Do also need to get Faker onto Juna as well. In fact, now might be a decent time to try out free juggling on Will. I would also like to have access to Magic Knight's hammer on Hulkenberg, because there are some very important electric weaknesses we'll be encountering soon.
Learned a new skill.
So 3 Heroes Fruit. Okay, let's give that to you. +1 Endurance will go Hulkenberg, and then Heroes Fruits. Wizard kind of needs to get its first few levels just so that it has access to its full elemental repertoire. There we go. So, before I talk about the real elephant in the room here, I need to talk about this trope that we are encountering here. The trope of
If you see a use for it, I say take it with you.
a fantasy world that turned out to be a post-apocalyptic Earth. This is a very, very common trope, and I do honestly wonder why. Yeah, this thing is weak to fire. It's not the mini-boss variant we saw earlier, but it's basically the same enemy, so yeah, weak to fire. Just gotta remember that there is another one of these things that is weak to, not fire. But yeah, already that's a very big increase. And also, Kusanagi Go! That would have been cooler if that was a one-shot, but oh well. In fact, you know what, let's see if we can steal something from this. Nope, okay. Oh, that's a regen skill. Okay. For a second, I was just like, that must be a Alright, this is what I meant by things that are weak to wind. But yeah, I thought for a second that was like a full heal, but as I said earlier, gotta be a little careful of Stroll using a physical using Warrior here. The problem is that Warrior does have Kusanagi, which is the weakness of those. I feel like a couple of Great Fairy Dust should be able to settle this. Maybe this is because people generally... it's morbid, but humans sometimes like to speculate on what might happen after they're gone, or, you know, what an apocalyptic situation might look like. But I suppose if you want to be more hopeful about it, maybe it's the idea that, you know, the world might go through apocalyptic disasters, but humanity still endures. I mean, in this case, it's not quite humanity as we know it. That earlier mural made it pretty clear that, that the remnants of the old culture are still around. They just may have evolved into different forms. I highly recommend visiting this room, though, because here you can walk back to the entrance of the dungeon, and if you want to make another MP run with Mage, which you'll probably have to make a few of those. And yeah, here, these are like real dead. This looks like the remnants of some kind of cafeteria. So let's see what everyone has to say. Highs may still still hanging upside down. Ancient magic that could create a sky underground, huh? Yeah, I guess the sky... Because, like, you'd presume that the real-world sky is the sky that we've already been under.
No.
Crystals have always been here. Melancholize for a long time. Well, I mean, we did hear about that big ancient war. Maybe that's the traces of those.
Oh.
Yeah, dragons do seem to have very particularly strong magla. Also, yes, I'm now erasing my Spire of Blind Faith file. Yeah, that was an alternate universe that didn't end well.
Let's go.
Let us resume our exploration. And yes, it is a very common fantasy cliche that, oh yeah, gotta remember to, on Juna, inherit skills onto Wizard. You know, maybe this is a good time for Stroll to temporarily sit it out and have Hulkenberg come in. Because Hulkenberg does have Wizard. She could inherit a stronger fire skill onto Magic Knight. No, not Paladin, that comes later. So, it's a very common cliche to have a fantasy world that is built on the ruins of the modern real world. I wonder if it's all... You just got squashed into a wall. I wonder if it's something to do with just, like, adding relatability somehow? The fact that, like, this isn't, like, really an entirely fantasy world, this is an offshoot of our world. And, in fact, that actually leads into a topic that I do plan to talk about at some point later on in this dungeon, and trust me, I have a lot of things to talk about in this dungeon. And that is just the idea of, like, why exactly this game just didn't really hit mainstream the way that it could have. That was a resistance and it still did a lot of damage. Okay, good thing that hit 3 times, not 2. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we don't have a win weakness in the party anymore, so should be kind of fine. Mostly just wanted the unscathed triumph there. Because stories that are based in the real world, or at least some variant of it, they do have that advantage of being, like, having universal relatability. Like, I love medieval fantasy worlds, but not everybody does. Like, getting people invested in the world building and like, having to just completely build your world from scratch. The advantage of a world built on one before is not only that familiarity,
Let us go.
but also the fact that, like, it's less effort to world build. For example, in something like, say, Persona 5, you don't need to worry too much about, like, bogging people down with exposition, because you don't need to explain to people how things work in the real world if it's just, like, the real world. That is one very fast read. Speed tree. The game's opening now makes so much more sense. Okay, Infernal Vortex does slightly more than Botra, but it's for 4 more MP, so I have a major suspicion this thing boings wind. Oh no, it just resists all magic, but it's neutral to all physical, so, yeah. Physical attacks, still a decent, fallback. I love the way she says wizard so much. Oh, I wish she joined earlier so that I could have used that as the voice clip for the bio, but that would have been spoilers. But yeah, I love the way that Juna says wizard. So if we head around to this side, we can end up picking up an item. There are a lot of items that you can find around here, a lot of moments you can find around here that will have characters react to elements of the old world. Because that, too, is another advantage of these kind of stories. Because you've got the thing about, you know, to these people, things that we take for granted are mysterious ancient relics. And it can be a fun trope sometimes. For example, those things earlier that we know are elevators, but these people don't know that. So, it is a common cliche, but I think the reason why I like it for metaphor especially is because it completely reframes Moore's novel. We now know, with this context, that Moore's novel is not him imagining a fantasy world that just happens to resemble ours. It's an overly romanticized version of the past. And that is fascinating when it comes to metaphors themes, because it means that when the people of this world create fantasy, they are doing exactly the same thing that, you know, authors like Tolkien have done. It's very common to have fantasy works set in medieval times, perhaps because those times are so far removed from our current ones that they feel like a fantasy. And that we can put our own impositions on them and not really be beholden that much to, like, the societal problems and politics of those times, because they're from so long ago. And that explains why Moore's novel is just so hilariously, like, when we know, you know, like, why it works so well for, like, satire, because, like, we know, looking at this, that, like, you know, real modern-day society, absolutely the opposite of a utopia. Like, there's a lot of, you know, terrible, terrible things in the modern-day world that Moore's novel is completely glossing over. But it's the exact same for medieval times. Medieval times had plagues, diseases. If you look at graphs of modern times, infant mortality has gone down so drastically. Slavery...
Keep your energy up, everyone. Applause, please.
Like, there is just so much, and it's not that fantasy stories don't ignore that, but also that it can be easy to see these kinds of worlds as escapism just because they're not our real world, when they do have their own problems. And that is exactly what Moore did with his book. He's using the old world as escapism. It's very interesting, but there's a second layer to what's going on here. One that I've been waiting to talk about for a very, very long time.
Seems likely.
This is a very dangerous monster that keeps intruders out.
That can't be.
Grunts of the Dragon God. It's acting weird, almost as if it's not gonna move until we move. It has a very specific gimmick in how it traverses the floor.
Then
There's also a very specific area of the floor that it traverses. We're also not supposed to fight it. And yet it patrols this area and reacts to our movements. It has very strange biology. Now this is all a roundabout way of saying, even in metaphor, FOE! Yeah, this is an FOE, and this is an Etrian Odyssey dungeon. In fact, you can see the references in the Virga Island arc.
Not bad. I'm sure you'll find a use.
That Atlas reference in the names of those shops that I didn't mention, all of those shops are named after shops from Etrian Odyssey 1. And this place, Lost Dragongrace Shinjuku, is named after the 5th stratum of Etrian Odyssey 1. Now, this is kind of a big spoiler for Etrian Odyssey 1, so now's probably the time to give Will a bit more MP, actually. I'll do a Magla injection and maybe a pill. So, this is kind of a spoiler. Etrian Odyssey games are not, like, super big on story, though. But a big twist of the first Etrian Odyssey is that the world was actually built on the ruins of Shinjuku. And it's not a fantasy world, but a post-apocalyptic version of the real world.
I see the enemy.
The 5th stratum was a shocking reveal of a modern-day city. The reveal that the world you're in was actually based in reality and not fantasy. The same reveal that the people are experiencing in this world. And it goes further. The music that you're hearing right now
Not out of the woods just yet.
is a remix of the 5th stratum music from Etrian Odyssey 1. Aha! Here is the other version of the Alento. This one is completely immune. This one is completely immune to fire and resistant to everything physical. However, it's weak to wind and light. You know, I kind of just wondered. I just kind of realized something here. I feel like this dungeon is actually designed to heavily favor the Seeker archetype, which makes sense because we're seeking the truth about the world here. But yeah, a lot of wind weaknesses, also a lot of fire weaknesses. Okay, that's recover from stun. I should probably focus on taking it out first. But yeah, basically just remember, autumn leaves equals no fire. Cursed strike. It has shown us the cursed fan art of doom. But, okay, hi there, Major Leaf. You're getting some wind in your face. Yeah, kind of a weird time to, like, not be trained in, wind magic on basically anyone, because, like, I'd use the Seeker more often if I had a magic build on Will. But yeah, that's that fight down. So, the references go even further. This floor, right here. This has the exact, pretty much as you can recreate a tile-based map in a fully 3D map, has the same layout as the first floor of the 5th stratum of Etrian Odyssey 1. It even has the same name as that floor, a bounty of relics. All the names of the floors in this place, and believe me, there's gonna be quite a lot of floors, have the same names as Etrian Odyssey 1 floors. And it hasn't just been here, it's been this entire game that has kept the references to Etrian Odyssey going. Etrian Odyssey references have been present for this entire game. Ariadne's thread, that is the escape from dungeon item from Etrian Odyssey. It's not always translated that way, sometimes it's called warp wire, but it's now consistently called Ariadne's thread. We even got Roman numerals on these doors to mark the floor transitions. So yeah, you might notice I could have actually climbed down to the next floor, like, way earlier, but yeah, this place gets kind of confusing, just like an Etrian Odyssey dungeon.
If so...
There are a lot of different ways to traverse the floor.
I see the enemy. Okay.
And you don't need to explore the whole thing. The reason why this dungeon is so long is because it is not a Persona 5 style dungeon. It's an Etrian Odyssey style dungeon. And with all that implies, it's got FOEs, it's got massive floors. Yeah, you're in this place for the long haul. And I think I may have alluded to that earlier when I said there's only one other dungeon that's as long as the Regolith Grand Cathedral, but it has a very different design philosophy. Well, that's why! It's because it has the Etrian Odyssey design philosophy! You can tell I've been holding this in for ages. I love the fact that, like, Atlas kind of baited us with the idea of, you know what, I wouldn't actually mind having, like, the MP regeneration item on the wheel. Or maybe Juno, actually. Let me check. But, like, Atlas basically baited us with, oh, this is gonna be... She has, like, nothing. Okay, yeah, definitely give her the MP recovery. And I'll take Psych over Infernal Vortex. So, like, they baited us with, like, oh, this is gonna be Persona, but fantasy! And actually, it was Etrian Odyssey all along. Ah, here's one of those things that I was gonna comment on. Parts of a keyboard have fallen off, but they're made of a material I don't recognize. Perhaps an ancestor of the instruments? Ah, a bit different to organs, but implicitly, this is either an electric keyboard or a piano. I like to think it's probably a piano, but maybe some kind of electric piano. And let's avoid that FOE. I like that they're at least marking a map. Another Etrian Odyssey thing. Yeah. So... I really don't know, because when I was doing my Persona Q2 playthrough, which, by the way, this is why Persona Q2 was the playthrough I did on the channel before this game. Yeah, I was playing the long game this whole time. I wanted to make sure everybody was caught up with Etrian Odyssey mechanics before this game, because yeah, this is the ultimate love letter to Etrian Odyssey, and I saw during the Persona Q2 playthrough, there were quite a few people in the comments who were big Etrian Odyssey fans, so all of you, just go off in the comments, tell me what, like if you played this game before, tell me what you thought when you got to this dungeon, and saw that, like, this game was, like, a tribute to Etrian Odyssey all along. If you're blind in this game and are only experiencing it through my playthrough, tell me what you think getting to this point. Tell me what you think about Atlas saying, hey, Etrian Odyssey fans, we notice you and we love you.
I'll always aim higher.
It's just so interesting that they went and did this. Because, like, Etrian Odyssey to me it's a pretty niche series. It did get a re-release of the original game semi-recently, although I kind of wish that the Untold remakes got re-releases, because those ones have a little bit more to them. It isn't just like the story mode, because the story mode is kind of a little bit antithetical to the idea of like Etrian Odyssey. Like the whole point of Etrian Odyssey is like you're meant to make up your own story. You're meant to make up your own party members. You're meant to imagine their relationships, their personalities, everything. It's kind of almost like you're playing out a solo Dungeons and Dragons campaign. And also you're kind of encouraged to draw your own map as you go through the dungeons. Serene Fist, Goddess of the Moon. Well, okay, I guess that's like, shouldn't it be Selene Fist then? And also that's Greek, not Japanese, but if Japan existed, then I'm sure Greece existed in this world too. And yeah, that does give a convenient excuse for the calendar system. Like why this game can have a calendar system and have the months be called the same thing as English names, as like Western names of months. Yes, I don't think that was intentional because in Japan the months are all just called 1, 2, 3, etc. But like, at least it gives an excuse for this. Okay, so there's another downstairs here. Like, as I've said, this dungeon is super complicated. There are a lot of different ways that you can explore this place. A lot of different ways. Oh, these ones are weak to light too, nice. I think what I'll try and do is explore as much of this floor as I can.
Victory is ours.
Because there are definitely parts of it that we aren't able to access now, but I'd like to explore as much of it as I can. Unlike Etrian Odyssey, there is no exploration reward here. I almost wish there was, but doing floor percentage completion would be kind of hard. I thought you'd bring another tree with you. Yeah, already my MP is starting to run a little lower than I'd like, especially on Will. These fights also aren't even really worth that much experience, archetype experience in Mag. And the boss of this place is actually level 50, so you're actually expected to level up quite a bit in here. Oh wow, he got down to exactly 0 MP. Unfortunately, can't remove Protag from the party. I'd like to do that right now and put Stroll in, but I guess I'll need to put Stroll in over Hulkenberg. Also, I think Heismay should go back to having a fire skill inherited. Formation of Vigor is kind of just too expensive to have right now. Unless the enemies are giving us Magla pills, but I definitely appreciate more in the way of archetype experience, just saying. And there should still be like 1 enemy left. Yep, it's Mr. Tree. Oh wait, before I... In that case... Yes, you have Hummer on, you should inherit that. Hi, Tree. I do not like to be punched by a tree today. This is weird to say, but Heismay also has an anti-tree weapon, so he's getting that benefit from even his wind spells against these, well, trees. Okay, rank 12 in that. I would appreciate rank 7 in Wizard, and then the entire reason why I fought all those enemies is for Fortune White Mask. That's kind of fine. So yes, it looks like we have reached the limits of what we can explore on this floor so far, because there's like a door over there. So I think we'll be heading down elevator number 4. To avoid confusion, it's probably best to go the way that the game tells you to, but I've also got some exploration in. And between parts, I should probably go back and do an MP run. And that's going to take me quite a bit. So, yeah. We have made some very big progress into the dungeon and found out some massive things about the world. Next time, we delve further into the Odyssey.